So every once in a while I do one of these deep goal setting and planning sessions to make sure that I'm just not moving aimlessly towards my goals and that I can actually drive progress properly, because specificity in what you are trying to do is so key, because it allows flawless execution of the habits that you need to do, and it means that you can actually track progress, which is key because it allows you to create a link in your mind between the work you're doing right now and the results you actually get. So I have a few goals over the next 6 months. I have a powerlifting competition in December, which I'm going to be training for as well. But in 6 months' time, I want to be benching 180 kilos, and I'm going to upgrade my mindset along the way. And that's exactly what I'm going to break down in this planning session. But I'm going to break it down into 3 different sections. So number 1, training plan. Number 2, mindset development plan. And number 3, the diet structure. So let me show you how I actually plan these things in a way that's actionable. So I love to use Miro boards for these things just because the visual display is so good and I can access it from my phone, from my laptop, whatever I want. First off, I'm going to create a section for my mindset development plan. And most of the mindset development things are already things that I'm mostly doing to develop my mindset, but I like to include them in my plan just so I can be clear in what my intentions actually are. But my mindset's always improving because I always execute this system flawlessly. Granted, I have like the occasional day off from doing what I need to do sometimes, but once again, that is within the specific plan. I plan to have a few days off every now and then. So for my mindset development, I basically have, and I'm going to add this into the other Miro board. So my IHE system basically states that everything about the way your mindset is, the way you feel on a day-to-day basis, and the motivation that you have to move towards your goals is all dependent on number 1, your inputs, number 2, your habits, and number 3, your environment. These 3 factors completely make up your mindset. And that is absolutely undebatable. So if you want to check out why I actually use this system and why the inputs, habits, environment is so good and why it actually works, I have another YouTube video where I completely go through that, which I'll link in the description so you can go check that out. But for now, I'm just going to be going over what I'm going to be doing in these 3 factors basically. So I've just written out exactly how I'm going to focus on IHE for the mindset development in the next 6 months. So starting off with inputs, basically the primary directional input that I have every single day is always audiobooks, because what audiobooks do is they just put you in this constant growth state, this constant growth mindset. So you always feel like you're making progress. And so in the morning, I'm always listening to audiobooks. I'm always listening to audiobooks in the night. I listen to them on the way to the gym, anywhere I can basically. So I've set myself a goal for this of 1 audiobook per week, which I think is perfectly fine. If I'm listening to them for a few hours every single day, absolutely get that done. And people hear that and say, well, few hours every single day, that sounds like a lot. No, it's not, because you have things that you need to do every single day that don't take actual mental energy, that you can be filling up with other mental tasks like learning from audiobooks and such. I'll do that whilst I'm doing the washing up. I'll do that whilst I'm on the way to the gym. I'll do that whilst I'm eating my breakfast, which I'll go over my habits in a minute. You know, any time that doesn't require actual mental focus is a time when you can be listening to audiobooks. And you'd think it's mentally taxing. It's actually not. It's super easy to listen to, but you still absorb the information, which is why audiobooks will always be my number 1 input. I love them so much. So 1 audiobook per week, we can get quite a few done over the next 6 months with that. Screen time limit set to specifically 7 hours per day, and I would do lower. But the thing is, all of my fitness and mindset coaching clients are online. So this is how I transform their lives. I do it completely online. So I would have it lower, but there's nothing really I can get around with that, which I'm perfectly okay with. So in those 7 hours, absolutely no brain rot whatsoever, focusing only on the business, fitness, or studying basically. Diet, 90% clean foods. So I'll do 10% basically whatever I like. You know, I have to go out for meals and stuff like that, but 90% clean foods. I can be doing 3,700 calories a day because I am on a bulk. I'm prepping for a winter powerlifting competition, which I think I spoke about before. But yeah, so 3,700 calories a day, 220 grams of protein and 400 carbs. All of the rest of the calories will just be made up by fat, and that's perfectly okay because it's going to be clean fats as well. My habits, I always do this morning routine, so 50 push-ups, cold shower, sunlight exposure, growth audiobook with breakfast, and this always just perfectly sets me up for a good, productive, healthy, mindset developing day. I feel brilliant every single time. Working out 4 times per week, this is specific to the Texas method that I do, which I'll be going over in the actual training program section. I'm going to be swimming once per week because I am on a long-term sort of training program. Not really in terms of the Texas method, but I'm on this long-term training program basically for an Ironman, which I'm hoping to do either next year or the year after. Tracking my macros every single day, obviously, this is one of my number one habits, makes sure that you see results no matter what, because I know so many people that think, oh yeah, I'm eating hundreds of grams of protein per day, and then they track it once and it's like, oh, this was actually 70 grams of protein. So tracking your macros every day is the only way to do it, because your brain will trick you into thinking that you've eaten more protein than you actually have. Trust me, it's happened to me many times before. So macro tracking every single day, study every single day. Now, this is quite personal to me, but I also think it's just fantastic because studying every single day, like the audiobooks, constantly keeps you in this growth mindset to where you always feel like you're in motion, you always feel like you're making progress. But it's also personal to me because when I was in school, when I was in college, I did fuck all. I didn't do anything. I slacked off. I was lazy. I stayed up all night playing video games, stuff like that. I basically did shit in a bunch of my A levels. So I make it a point to myself that I study every single day to keep on track of that. Now, this nighttime routine is also kind of specific to me, starting off with stretching because I had a back injury a few years ago. When I started training, I basically used to max out deadlift every single session. I just completely fucked up my back. So I stretch every other night, I think it is, yeah, every other night to make sure that that injury doesn't come back. And now my lower back is feeling stronger than ever. I'm deadlifting more than ever. I'm squatting more than ever. Feels super, super good, but I have a kind of feeling that if I stop stretching, it might revert to the old ways. That's perfectly fine. I'm happy to do that every other night. So I do French practice just because I'm learning to be fluent in French. Macros, journal, super, super key, journaling, right? If you're not journaling, what the fuck are you doing? It's 2025, bro. It costs like £5 to buy a journal. £5 and 10 minutes a day. That's literally it. Okay. Go buy a journal, plan out your days properly, reflect on what's happened in your day properly. I promise it is the number one thing you will do for self-development. Right. And then we finish off with the growth audiobook just before bed as well. And then at the bottom with environment. So I've basically just moved to a new location. So I'm at a new gym. I don't know anyone here. And that's perfectly fine because I know so many clients, so many people who are in that exact same situation where they don't know anyone that works out, or they don't have any friends that work out in the area that they're in. And I always make it a really key point that, look, you have to find people who are working out so you can surround yourself with that social environment, because these people will rub off on you. They will make progress and they will drag you with them. So surrounding yourself with the right people, absolutely key. So I'm going to make it a point in the next few months to connect properly with 5 people at this new gym, just so I can be surrounded by them, just so I can have some good training partners, people I know there, people that are going to make me feel comfortable there, and people that are going to keep me leveling up towards my actual goals too. Next, I'm going to focus on the goal-based living space. Now this is basically just a way of reinforcing your own identity by creating your environment in a specific way. So downstairs in the kitchen, all of my shelves are stocked with protein powder, supplements, pills. By pills, I mean like vitamins and shit like that, right? Not that kind of pills. So pills, pre-workout, creatine, stuff like that, right? So it's all surrounded with that. I have a bunch of gym clothes in my wardrobe. I have all of my gym equipment in open spaces in my bedroom so I can see it all the time. I have key principles written up behind me. I have habit streaks written down so that I can all see these things, and it subconsciously reinforces that identity that I am someone who makes progress. And this is a really key thing that not enough people do, is create their environment in a specific way to that if someone who never knew you, who never even met you before, walked into your living space, they'd easily be able to tell that you are someone who, number one, makes progress in their life, and number two, achieves all of their fitness goals. Because that's what your subconscious sees. And it reinforces this identity in your brain, which makes you become almost unstoppable if you're seeing this stuff every single day. So we have the goal-based living space, really key one there. Now, selective environment managing isn't something I need to focus on that much anymore, just because I'm not really in these bad environments, but is basically just minimizing the amount of time that you're in bad environments, in tempting environments, stuff that, you know, make you drink, make you want to party too much, all of this kind of stuff, because it kind of just leads to downfall if you're in those environments too much. So I'm very selective about spending too much time in what I think are bad environments, because I know that it's going to negatively affect my mindset. And that's not a bad thing. It's not unhealthy. It's perfectly fine. But I am just very selective about where I stay for too long. I'm going to take a step back and move on to the training program here. So the Texas Method is basically sort of an old school training program based for strength, realistically. So they used to do it with like Olympic lifting, you know, like the clean and jerk, the what's it called? They used to do it with the clean and jerk, the snatch, and a bunch of other just like strength movements and stuff like that. So, but I'm going to use it for the powerlifting movements in this case, and I'm going to design it in a very specific way. So squats, I'm going to do bench. I could write the full exercise name like barbell bench press, but I don't actually care, so I'm just going to write it squats and bench. And then deadlifts, and then I'm going to be doing weighted pull-ups as my only other exercise on this day. Now the reason I only have 4 exercises on these days where I do squats, bench and deadlift, which you'll see in a second, is because I'm going to be doing basically 5 sets on squats and bench and then 2 sets on deadlift. So it's a very long day if you take into account the rest periods in between them. So now recovery and accessories, I'm basically just going to be doing, starting off with bench and then doing squats again as well. And then the last 3 exercises, I'm basically just going to be doing accessories. So T-bar row. Should I do T-bar row? Yeah, I think I should. And I'll do some preacher bicep curls too. And tricep exercise. I've kind of been liking single arm push downs recently with a neutral wrist. I've kind of really been liking them, so I think I'm going to throw them in there as well. Single arm tricep extension. Now, intensity. So, you know, I really want to put bench first, but if I'm doing squats and deadlifts as well, there really is no other way than just to do, than put bench in the middle, really, unfortunately. But that's perfectly fine. I won't be that fatigued, and that's exactly what I did last time I did the Texas Method as well. And that's perfectly okay. Now I have now compared to the first day, I have actually 2 extra exercises instead of just 1. The reason is because I'm only going to be doing 1 working set on each of these exercises, so I'll have a bit of extra time to do something else. I'm going to do machine lateral raises. You know what, I think I'm just going to do the exact same tricep extension again. Yeah, I kind of like that. Now for the accessories day, this is basically just all the muscles I didn't hit properly in the rest of the week. Now I hit mostly everything right, but I'm just going to be focusing on those things that I didn't hit so much, like back, like biceps, stuff like that. So I'm going to be starting off with some heavy lat pull downs. Actually, I'm going to change that, and I'm going to put another shoulder exercise there. I'm going to move that down. I'm going to put, what's it, military press in there. Lateral raises down there. And I think that will just be my shoulder portion of the week, like primary shoulder focus. And that's perfectly fine. So I can just focus more on arms and back in this session, basically. And actually what I think I'm going to do, put that third, so I can start straight off the bat with hammer curls. And I think I'm going to do straight bar extensions. Use straight bar tricep extensions on this day. Let me see, what am I looking like with that? So yeah, perfect. So I have 2 days where I actually focus on my arms a little bit more. That's perfect. Sound. So heavy lat pull downs. What else am I really gonna want? You know, it's been a while since I've done some ab training, but I might throw in an ab exercise because, as I said, I wanted to get into calisthenics. Let me just turn this light up a little bit because it's somehow still dark outside a little bit. Get the ab curl machine. Yeah, let's do that. And then you may notice I haven't got any actual leg exercises on here. The reason for that, or you know, just chest exercises, the reason for that is because I'm doing bench, squat and deadlift all throughout the week anyway. So if I were to have any other leg exercises like hypertrophy focused leg exercises, it would just be a waste of my energy, right? I would have so much fatigue, be a complete waste of time, and that's okay. So what else do I want for the final one? Yeah, I'll probably I'm just gonna do T-bar row again, I think, because I just love that machine so much. Right, so I'm gonna fill out the sets and intensity and reps, and I'll just be right back. Got a bit of a mix on the sets, reps and intensity. Reps almost exactly the same throughout the entire thing. I always stay within basically the 4 to 8 rep range. I don't really go any higher than that usually. And if you're tapped in on the knowledge about why low reps are so much better for number 1 strength, number 2 hypertrophy, there is an actual reason for this, which I'll go through in another video. But really key that we're doing 5 to 6 reps on all of these exercises. I'm doing 6 reps because I find that more comfortable on like the hypertrophy and accessory exercises, and then staying at that 5 rep mark for all of the powerlifting movements. This looks perfect. So the intensity, the way I have it, doesn't say, but basically this is RIR. So that is just reps in reserve. So when it says 1 to 2 here, 1 to 2, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. Basically what that means is the number means how many reps I have in reserve when I finish the set. So let's say I'm doing 2 sets of 5 on bench press. I want the weight and the intensity to be at a point where I stop at the 5 rep mark, but I could have got 9 because I had 4 reps left in the tank. So that's how I have the intensity laid out for this. So going to be going really intense on the intensity day, obviously. Accessories, keeping that up, you know, the high optimal hypertrophy range for that. And then volume powerlifting day. So this is all kind of complicated, but this looks pretty damn good. And I always like to remind myself of exactly what this is going to require of me. So the focus of this program is basically every single week it ranges between either 1.25 kilos or 2.5 kilos to the bar every single week on every exercise in this program. This is one of the most efficient ways to just simplify progressive overload that you can do. And I actually go to a gym now that has these little 500 gram plates, which are so good if you want to make sure that you're continually using progressive overload. So I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of those. But yeah, the way this program works is I'm going to be adding small amounts of weight to the bar every single week. And the last time I did this program, I added like 90 kilos to my squat in like the space of a year. It's crazy. 90 kilos is a lot of weight to add to a squat, by the way. My squat now is like 240 kilos. We're going to be getting this up to 260 soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, this program is crazy for strength. So I'm just going to be using it until it doesn't work for me anymore, basically. So now we've got that down, I'm just going to export that, paste it into the Miro board, and then I'll do the diet straight after. Perfect. I actually don't like the way this looks with the rounded corners, so diet structure is going to be, let's see. Now, we already said 3,700 kcal per day. We're looking at 220 grams protein, 400 grams carbs. Those are going to be our check markers. So I'm actually going to use my phone to work out what these sort of macros are looking like. Right, so I want to be having breakfast. I tend to eat basically the same things all the time just because it simplifies things in my mind, and I don't really care that much about like differences in what I'm eating across a week, right? I tend to just like eating the same things because it keeps it simple in my mind. So breakfast is always going to be oats, 200 grams, milk, 350 ml, and then honey, 20 grams, and that is going to work out to 1045 kcal, 38 grams protein, and 186 grams carbs. Perfect. That looks good. Right. So what do I want what do I want to eat for lunch for the next 6 months? You know what? So you might not actually know this about me, but I'm vegetarian. So I grew up being a vegetarian. I was vegetarian for 15 years of my life, and for the past few years I've been eating meat, but I recently went vegetarian again just because moral decisions, environmental decisions, and I have no problem with just not eating meat. So for lunch, why the fuck has it done that? What are we gonna be having for lunch? I think we'll just do eggs, 5 eggs. Yeah, that looks good. I'll do, let's see, 2 slices of sourdough toast. Yeah, sourdough seeded at what, like 150 grams? Yeah, I think that's right. I guess I could have some avocado alongside that, get some healthy fats in. That's looking really good actually. So what do we have? 852 calories. We have 38 grams protein and 58 grams carbs. Perfect. We are on track so far because late afternoon snack I'll be having basically whole other bowl of oats. Now I know this sounds ridiculous, but I love this shit so much. So whole other bowl of oats, and then what I'll do is impact whey grams. I basically just have the protein powder with a small amount of water. That way it's not too creamy, it tastes pretty good. Like I can just get it down in a few gulps and it's perfectly fine. So just do it that way. That's gonna be 247 calories, 50 grams protein. What's that? 2 grams carbs. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. So we're looking pretty on track right now. Let me just go ahead and double up that bowl of oats on the tracker. Might actually need to up that to 2.5 servings there, just so we're hitting our protein target. Yeah, that's looking good. Right. And then I'll also have mixed fruits up in here just so I can get some more micronutrients in. Usually like 150 grams of that. And this kind of just varies all the time. Like I'll change up what kind of fruits I'm eating. I've really liked apples recently. I had so many apples, and I'm kind of done with them now. I'm so bored. So I might be having some like melon and grapes a lot more. Love kiwis, so micronutritionally dense. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be getting those in a bit more. Actually, yeah, let's make that kiwi focus. Sorry, you can see the process of how I'm planning out this diet in my mind as it's happening in real time. Kiwi focus, right? I'm estimating that's going to be around 170 kcals. It will vary from fruit to fruit, but that's perfectly fine. And I'm not even going to bother with going on about the carbs or the protein in there because it's mostly just water and shit. But for dinner, what am I going to be having for dinner? Now this might change from night to night, and if it does, and I don't get enough protein in the dinner, then I'll compensate with something else in the day. Because I have like family dinners and stuff like that, I go out for dinner sometimes, and that's perfectly normal. But I think I'm going to be rotating between, so this is basically like like vegetarian meat substitute, but this shit is really good. So I'm going to be rotating between Beyond Burger, which is like It's made up of like soya, pea protein. It's really good, tastes really fucking good. So I'm gonna be having 2 of those. And then I'll do some mixed salad on the side. Yeah. You know, I've been kind of liking Caesar salad recently, so I'll just do those 2 burgers and then some Caesar salad on the side. As you can see, my diet tastes not entirely optimal, and not for absolutely everyone. I don't really care what kind of foods I mix together, but we're going to be doing, yeah, I did spell it right the first time. So we're going to be doing Caesar salad on the side, estimate around 100 grams of that. And that is perfect because I'm checking my app right now and we are at 2,800 calories, which is fine. And we're sat at 217 grams of protein for this diet so far. Now, so these Beyond Burgers, why I've said rotate here is because I'm going to rotate them for Linda McCartney sausages, which basically comes out to around the same. What have we got there? So for dinner, we have, what's that? 600 kcal, 43 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbs, and that is pretty much perfect in my eyes. Really, really simple. Now, as I said, I'll be rotating what I'm having for dinner, whether I'm having family dinners or stuff like that, but I'll be compensating for that. But let's just change this to what it actually is. So it's more like 3,800, 2017. By the way, this is well within the range of what I was okay with when I was figuring out what diet I need. Yeah, that is perfect. Right. So let's just make this a little bigger. And I'm just gonna go ahead and screenshot that so I can put it in the plan. So there we have the diet structure itself. There we go, that's a lot better. Sorry, I'm just picky with how I present these things. Right, that looks pretty much perfect. So what I'll do is I'll print out each of these. I'm gonna be sticking these each up on my wall, and this links exactly back to the, where is it? There we go, the goal-based living space. So these 3 documents here, the training program, the mindset development program, the diet structure, are all going to be well within view on my wall. So this is part of the goal-based living space right here. So using this program here, so my current bench PR is at 160 kilos. I'm not that strong right now because I recently got out of a running training block that I was doing for my hybrid program. But soon enough, I'll be back there again. I'm getting stronger by the day. I did a nice little 150 kilo single the other day. So in 6 months' time, if I stay on this program, adding approximately a kilo every single week to the bench, yeah, this is going to work out perfectly actually, and I might actually end up overshooting and getting over 180 kilos, but we'll see. You know, it could change, it could go slightly differently. Progress does slow down, that is completely fine, but this program should absolutely do the trick with that, and I'll be hoping to make huge strength gains with my squat and deadlift as well, so we can absolutely dominate the field with this powerlifting competition in December. Looking forward to that. Right, so if you follow my Instagram, I'll be keeping you guys updated on exactly how this program is going, how I'm training, how I'm following the diet structure, how I'm developing my mindset over the given period of time, because I am so excited for this next 6 month period. I cannot wait to achieve these goals in my powerlifting, my mindset development, and hit that final 4 plate bench. This shit is going to be so good. Right, so that is about it. I'm going to go and print these off, and I'll see you next time. Follow me on Instagram at Coach Will Cave, because I post value every single day as much as I can. Subscribe to this YouTube channel because I'm going to be posting a lot more high value videos like this and a lot more educational videos too. And I do guaranteed fitness and mindset coaching with the one-to-one link in my description. So go and check that out if you actually want to guarantee your results like we're doing right now. And I'll see you next time.